stories, and plus, being an Eric Clapton fan, he sang about the crossroads, and also, House, saying about the crossroads, and I was thinking about the time that Elvin Bishop and I went to, uh, uh, we went to the actual crossroads where the artist dueled the devil for his soul, and I mean, we were there in Mississippi, uh, at the actual crossroads. I'm glad it was daytime and not the dark because we were at Morgan Freeman's place out there fishing, and we were at those awards in Memphis, and so Elvin said, "Hey, you want to go out there?" So, I've had a number of crossroads where you had to make decisions, or some of the decisions were made for me.
Dusty, I have found that people are molded by their families' early experiences and also personal determination. Tell me about your family and growing up.
Well, I come from a family. I was oldest of five. Come from a very strong, male dominant house. I had a very strong mother to keep up my very strong father, and we were required to get good grades in school. We were required to say yes sir and no sir. My dad being a former military man in the Navy in World War II. When they had the segregated Navy at that time, and it was we had to say yes sir, no sir. We had to go to church every Sunday. I had to put all day Sunday. We go to Sunday school, we go to church, we go to Baptist Training Union at night, and so we were always taught to be respectful of your elders because if you wanted to get in trouble, just disrespect, one of the elders. And in the town of Riverside, where I was born and spent the first 15 years of my life, I mean, if somebody saw you acting, the neighborhood watch then didn't have a name. The neighborhood watch was Burrell peeping out the window, or somebody was going to tell your parents, that you were acting up before you got home. And if they gave you a whipping, you're going to get another whipping when you got home. And so, we come from a house of discipline. Sometimes I thought it might have been, a little over the top sometime because, you wanted to be free, you wanted to be, and the bad guys in the movies and the gangsters, these are the guys that are having all the fun. And but my mom, she'd always tell us, no, no child of mine, especially the boys, are going to be thugs. And then my dad says that no son of his was going to be a liar, a thief, or a criminal. And my dad said, "Don't you let the cops bring you home because you don't want to mess up the family name." So, like I said, I was given a lot of responsibility. Being the oldest of five, both my parents worked, and so people ask me why was I so responsible because that was my job.
It's interesting. You grew up those early years, of course, in Riverside, California, multi ethnic community.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you did move north up towards Sacramento, Carmel, California, that was different.
Mm-hmm.
How did
It
that?
was way different.
Yeah, I know. How
Well,
did
it's
that
Carmichael,
affect?
California, and at Del Campo High School, and it was different because my brother and I was a junior, he was a freshman, and they had the lower class wing down below, and they had the upper class wing, which I was in. We were the only black kids in the high school, and then the junior high, the only black kid was my sister, and the elementary school that fed the junior high, the only black kids were my brother and sister. And so, I mean, it was a cultural shock. We heard a lot of negative things. We fought a lot. But it taught me a lot about how to get along with people, and it taught me a lot. Really how to get along with white people because at that time at Riverside, I mean, it was still, we still had our problems, but it wasn't like being the only guy or the only girl, and so you had to learn how to deal with white society more than they had to learn how to deal with you. And so, like I said, I learned a lot of valuable lessons. It was tough sometimes, because I just did the Matt Barnes show yesterday, and Matt followed me at Del Campo High School, and he broke all my records in football and basketball. And he asked me yesterday on his show Up and Smoke, like what was it like, and was it tough on me and my families, but it was tough on him too at the same time.
When we talk about crossroads, it's said that your first love was basketball, not baseball. Was that a crossroad for you as well, trying
Yeah.
to choose?
Well, yeah. First, I had to choose which sport I was going to play, and then I had to choose like kind of which school I was going to go to play because I was trying to be Bobby Bonds from Riverside, and Bobby Bonds was the best athlete of all time, and he played all four sports. He was all everything in football, baseball, basketball. He went to the state track meet, which I ended up trying to go to the state track meet, which I attended to try to be Bobby Bonds. The only thing is, Bobby Bonds, that kid, was the fastest runner. He'd throw a no-hitter and hit 2 home runs. Well, see, I wasn't that kid. I mean, I was a good ball player, but I wasn't Bobby Bonds. But Bobby motivated me to try to try to be excellent. And my dad, I was with Bobby all the time because my dad was Bobby's little league coach and would pick him up to take him to practice, and we'd go to all Bobby's basketball games, football games, everything. And Riverside, if you didn't play sports, you really didn't have anything to do because everybody played sports, and you played as many sports as you could because that's what occupied our time other than school.
When you think back on that time before we go to our break here, I'm just wondering what was the highlight of that early part of your life in sports? I mean, was there something that really caught on to you?
Well, I just loved it, and I didn't like losing. I mean, I couldn't stand losing, and I had some great heroes because we watch TV. I mean, my dad loved Jackie Robinson, and I knew every Jackie Robinson movie that was out. But I also had other heroes. Like I had Elgin Baylor in basketball. I had Gale Sayers in football. And before Gale, I had Jim Brown, except I wasn't built like Jim Brown. My dad was built like Jim Brown. And then I had like Bob Hayes in track, and then I had Tommy Davis in baseball. Is the reason I wear number 12 now is because of Tommy Davis. And so, having these heroes and also having a mother that made us, go to school. My mom went back to school, uh, and she was like 40 years old, and graduated. And so, we had to do our lesson as well as play ball.
Dusty Baker is with us. I urge you to check out this book, Crossroads, a memoir in baseball and life. We're going to make a selection of it on the Sports Byline USA Book Corner, and we'll continue across the country and around the world. We've got you on America's sports talk show, Sports Byline. You and I are so damn good.
You make it easy.
Yeah.
Okay, man, I got it.
Okay. 10:45, and that will be 10:45 as well.
Okay. How many days a week you do this still?
Well, let me quickly, since we started a little, I can tell you, I've got now about 35,000 interviews in the Library of Congress. I have done, as I told Steve, I've got 1,500 sports book author interviews. I didn't think I'd be alive to do that many, and so
That's great.
the first hour is always a new type of thing. The next 3, I've got of course, with Davy Lopes passing away, Phil Garner passed away,
Yep.
Jim Whittaker passed away, who climbed Mount Everest. All of them in my library of interviews that I've done.
Well, see, I was just at Davy Lopes.
I know you were.
I went to Providence, man. That was then. When I got back home, they told me about Phil Garner, and so I called Bagwell and Biggio because they played for him, and I remember Phil Garner telling me, "We got a kid that can really hit." I said, "Who, man?" He says, "Jeff Bagwell." So I got to see him sitting on a toilet, and it was like, "This guy can't hit."
Okay, let me stop this and I'll reset. Okay, 10:45. Here we go. Dusty Baker is with us in the studio, and we're talking about his book, which I recommend highly to you, Crossroads, a Memoir in Baseball and Life. And I have known Dusty for a very long time. I can tell you, it's not how many times we've seen each other. It's always been the quality of our conversations
True that.
over the years about life and other things as well. I want to know whether this is true. Your dad was your little league coach, and he threw you off the teams a couple of times because of tantrums.
He cut me 3 times, matter of fact. Yeah, because I was trying out for his team, struck out, so I slung my bat up. I had a bad temper. And so sometimes I still have some unresolved temper. I mean, anger issues inside. That's why people are like, oh, you're so nice. I make myself nice sometimes. And so he cut me, and I had to play in the minors. And then the next year, I missed a ball during tryouts, and I stomped on my glove and kicked it, and he cut me again. I had to pay for his friend. And then the next year, I told him I didn't want to play anymore because I wanted to paper out that quarter a week, doing all this work, wasn't hitting it. And so he cut me again, and he said no son of his was going to quit, and he had too much money invested in me in that $9.99 Sears and Roebuck Ted Williams glove, and so he cut me again.
Tell me about being drafted by the Braves in 1967, and reportedly, the Braves asked Hank Aaron to try to influence you to sign with the team. Is that true?
Well, kind of. I mean, what had happened was I was about to go to Santa Clara, and I didn't want to go to another predominantly white school like I had just come from high school to play basketball because my dad had made me sign that letter of intent to go there. And so I prayed the night before that whoever drafts me, because I didn't have a very good senior year, that I did not want to go to the Atlanta Braves because I didn't want to go to the South, during civil unrest and anti-Vietnam and anti-everything all over the country, especially in the South. And so I got drafted by the Braves. My mother and they flew us to L.A. To work out. Because they knew I was a Dodger fan. It's pretty slick. And, the general manager was Paul Richards. And I was drafted and followed by Bill White, who was the scout up north. And he was close to Paul Richards. And they flew us down. And Hank was sort of in charge of us, in charge of me. And so I went on the bus with him, Philippe Alou, Joe Torre, all these guys. I was 18 years old, and here I was riding on the bus, sitting next to Hank, and going to Dodger Stadium, where I'd always dreamed about playing. And so, afterwards, I came back in from working out, went to the hotel, and went to Mr. Richards' room, and then Hank promised my mother that if I had enough confidence in my ability to be in the big leagues by the time my class would have graduated from college, to sign, if not, then go to college. And confidence wasn't something that I was lacking at that time. I was like, oh heck yeah, I can do that. And so I signed, but Hank promised my mother that he would take care of me as if I was his own son.
Yeah. And also, that was another early painful event in your life, another crossroad because of your dad. Dad wanted you to go to college, and you wanted to play baseball and everything.
No, I didn't really want to play baseball. I really wanted to play basketball. But I wanted to play baseball simply because, we needed the money. Being oldest of five, and my mom was in school. My brother was going to be in college 2 years after that. My sister was going to be in school 3 years after that. And the economic spokes of the wheel, were off. By my dad had to go get an apartment. Plus, my dad worked, 2 jobs for 36 years. And so, I didn't speak to my dad, for 3 years because he, took my contract to court. And then, but he couldn't nullify it, because of the child labor laws, the Jackie Coogan child prodigy law, where your parents can't spend the money until you're 21. And the state of California was deemed the trustee over my affairs, my financial affairs. And so that's why, I thought my mean old man was trying to hurt me. But at 21, my money had tripled. They put money. That's when I started watching the stock market because they put my little money in IBM stock and Standard Oil of California, which is now Chevron. And so when I turned 21, I just